right, everyone. Welcome to Breaking News here on Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. Say hi, Ronnie.
Hello, everybody.
Well, this day has been almost 2 years in the making. Uh, October the 7th, 2023 is when Hamas went nuts, uh, did their deed, and here we are, October the 3rd, 2025. Ronnie, what's the news?
Well, the news so far, from what I understand, is Hamas agreed to the deal. The deal that was proposed by Benjamin Netanyahu, and Donald Trump.
And
it's a good thing.
We have a statement from the President of the United States.
I want to thank the countries that helped me put this together: Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and so many others. So many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Very importantly, I look forward to having the hostages come home to their parents and having some of the hostages, unfortunately, you know the condition they're in, come home likewise to their parents, because their parents wanted them just as much as though that young man or young woman were alive. So I just want to let you know that this is a very special day, maybe unprecedented in many ways. It is unprecedented, but thank you all, and thank you all to those great countries that helped. We were given a tremendous amount of help. Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East, and we're very close to achieving that. Thank you all, and everybody will be treated fairly.
So there you have it. The Commander-in-Chief himself, Ronnie. What do you take from what he said?
Well, I really I like the fact that he appreciated all the other countries and all the help and everything. I'm surprised Trump didn't Trump and pat himself on the back like usual, but maybe this isn't the time for it. So that's great. I didn't realize that many countries were involved. That's huge. That's huge. It's definitely a step in the right direction. It's one step farther away from World War III, one step farther away from it, not one step closer. So,
well, let's read the statement that Hamas sent out. Let me background a little bit here. You and I talked probably about 6 o'clock tonight about whether to take this live or not. And at that point in time, we chose not to. You and I talked that Hamas has many times agreed to things only to not agree to things. As time passed through the night here, I didn't know that this letter it doesn't say from Hamas, but I didn't know this letter existed. Usually, from what we see on our end of things, is Hamas will either make an agreement or refuse an agreement or whatever is happening through the intermediaries, Qatar and some of the other countries. And, never seen this in written statement form like this is. I'm not saying that they don't do that, but this one just seems different. And so here we are with you now. Let's read what Hamas had to say. Let me put my glasses on because this is a little on the blurry side. Important statement on Hamas's response to U.S. President Trump's proposal. This takes a couple of minutes here. So out of keenness, and remember, this is from Hamas. So this is Hamas doing the talking here. Out of keenness to end the aggression and genocide being carried out against our steadfast people in the Gaza Strip, and stemming from national responsibility, and in defense of the constants, rights, and higher interests of our people, the Islamic resistance movement Hamas has conducted in-depth consultations within its leadership institutions, broad consultations with Palestinian forces and factions, and consultations with brothers, mediators, and friends in order to reach a responsible position in dealing with U.S. President Donald Trump's plan. After thorough study, the movement has made its decision and conveyed the following response to the mediators. Hamas appreciates Arab, Islamic, and international efforts, as well as the efforts of the U.S. President Donald Trump, calling for an end to the war on the Gaza Strip, the exchange of prisoners, the immediate entry of aid, the rejection of the occupation of the Strip, and the rejection of the displacement of our Palestinian people from it. Within this framework, and in a manner that achieves an end to the war and a full withdrawal from the Strip, the movement announces its approval of releasing all occupation prisoners, both living and remains, according to the exchange formula contained in President Trump's proposal, with the necessary field conditions for implementing the exchange. In this context, the movement affirms its readiness to immediately enter, through the mediators, into negotiations to discuss the details. The movement also reaffirms its approval to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body of independents, technocrats, based on Palestinian national consensus and supported by Arab and Islamic backing. As for other issues included in President Trump's proposal concerning the future of the Gaza Strip and the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, this is tied to a collective national position and in accordance with relevant international laws and resolutions to be discussed within a comprehensive Palestinian national framework in which Hamas will be included and will contribute with full responsibility. Signed, the Islamic Resistance Movement, Hamas. And so there is a fairly lengthy statement from Hamas. Again, Ronnie, what's your response to what we heard right there?
Well, like we were talking about earlier, I really hope this is for reals this time. It sounds like they took their time and drafted together a pretty decent statement. Unfortunately for me, I'm really, really, really having trouble believing it until I see it.
That's where I am. That's where I am 100%. When the hostages are in Israeli hands, as well as the remains in Israeli hands, then I'll believe at least part of what they said.
I mean, this has happened before where, they've been promised or whatever, and it didn't work out. Or where Israel gave way, 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 way more than what they got in return.
Well, and that is part. If you look in the Trump proposal, the 20-point proposal, Hamas is going to get back several hundred prisoners.
Yeah.
Which never, ever, ever is comprehended in my small brain, because the other side is always in the wrong.
Yeah.
And Israel gets like one handful of things, and the other side gets bushel baskets full of things, if that analogy makes any sense at all.
Well, absolutely. And that's the way it was before. It was, Israel gave up or, gave back several hundred hostages, and they received 20. I mean, I don't quote me on the exact numbers, but it was extremely lopsided in one way.
And to be honest, the thing that bothers me the most about what Hamas said there, other than the fact that I really don't trust or believe them, is I thought that Hamas was not supposed to have anything to do with the future of the Gaza Strip. And let me read that last part once again. As for other issues included in President Trump's proposal concerning the future of the Gaza Strip and the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, this is tied to a collective natural position and in accordance with relevant international laws and resolutions to be discussed within a comprehensive Palestinian national framework in which Hamas will be included and will contribute with full responsibility. That stinks to me. That doesn't pass the smell test on that part. And I'm interested to see what Netanyahu and representatives from Israel have to say about that. Because even without going back and looking it up, I know that it talked about Hamas not having any responsibility, in addition to the Palestinian Authority not having any part of the new government in Gaza. So,
to me, that the whole thing is it would be like if, I don't know, the Michigan militia were to, yeah, we've got a United States government, but the Michigan militia is the one that tells everybody what to do and, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't comprehend how Hamas has so much power or why this is even a thing, I guess.
well, and not to say that I can comprehend the inner thinkings, but terrorist groups normally like to, you know, pound their chests a little bit and say, "Ooh, look me big guy,
Right.
me bad." And I kind of get that out of that last statement, and I'm hoping that's the case. You know, they're trying to save face with whoever they can possibly save face with, which would be practically nobody. To be honest, even other Muslims in the Middle East does not like Hamas. That they just don't, and I'm thankful that the president came out. You know, I don't think he would come out and you know, talk to the country from the Oval Office without a, you know,
Good
a
reason.
very good, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he got more than just a wink and saying, "Oh, they're going to do it."
Yeah, we think so, anyways.
So, what are we looking for next? I think the release of the hostages has to come
Yeah.
up soon.
Yeah. Well, I'm just reading right now. This is based on the statement issued by Hamas. I believe they're ready for a lasting peace. Trump wrote on Truth Social, Israel must immediately stop bombing of Gaza so we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. You know, and that's awesome too. You know, he's not just saying Hamas has to do this or Hamas has to do that. He's also saying, hey, look, Israel, you got to knock this off so we can get this going, kind of thing. So,
Well, I mean, they have to. I mean, the hostages themselves would be at risk.
yeah, in harm's way, absolutely. So,
And so, I don't know. I'm going to go back to the old school way of thinking. You don't negotiate with terrorists. And I know that apparently that was necessary in this case, but my prayer is that Hamas doesn't live to see another day to fight.
yeah.
Because
go ahead.
Well, because they want to.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Part of the agreement that Trump in the 20 points said that they had to acknowledge that Israel has the right to exist. You know, they might have pinky promised that, but that they don't want to acknowledge that Israel has the right to exist.
Yeah.
I just forgive me for those that are listening for being skeptical, but
we've been burned before.
I'm old school when it comes to these things. You know, if you say the word Russia to me, I'm going to say never trust them. If you say terrorist groups to me, I say you don't negotiate and never trust them.
Yeah.
Better off dead.
Yeah. I really look forward to what's next is Hamas laying down their weapons. That way we know for sure that they're being serious here. You always got to watch the right and the left hand, though, especially with terrorists. They might set their rifle down, but they got the switch on the left hand. So I'm really looking to see that be a thing. I'd like to see the IDF go through and make sure they're unarmed. Also getting the hostages back, as well. So,
well, once the hostages come back, then it'll be really interesting to see what you're saying right there.
Yeah.
Part of the agreement was the tunnel infrastructure to be eliminated. That could take maybe even years for that to take place. And then they'll have to, once the agreement goes into place, the destruction of the tunnels will be much more difficult.
Yeah.
Because right now they can blow the tunnel up and, the collateral damage above ground is part of the war damage. Once the agreement goes into place, it's a whole different ball game. And so
I'm just tired of Israel losing.
Absolutely.
Losing that ball game.
Well, and what I'm tired of with Israel losing is the PR war. And you can take a lot of things have happened since the Charlie Kirk funeral, and we've not really dug into the whole Candace Owens and her hatred toward Israel and what Charlie Kirk thought about Israel. Well, one of the things that Charlie Kirk was helping Netanyahu with was actually the social media presence with the young generation, because you look at all of the pro-Palestine marches and college things that were going on. That's all young people that Charlie Kirk was in definite lockstep with how to reach those folks. And so coming up, we'll probably start digging into the Candace Owens. I really wanted to avoid that personally, because that woman has done flipped off her rocker.
Man, I tell you what, everything I see from hers, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier. And
well, she's arguing with Turning Point USA now.
Yeah. And that's what gave her a start was TPUSA. So
absolutely, she can thank Charlie Kirk for who she is professionally today.
Yep.
I mean, not saying that she didn't have anything to do with it, and he didn't hand it to her on a silver platter. 2 years ago at this time, I was a big Candace Owens fan.
Yeah, I was too.
And so, it goes to show you that even people you trust, you still have to have that guard up just a little bit, at least a little bit. I mean, the only person that you can 100% trust, and it's not a person, it is God. People here on this earth will change their minds. They'll do things differently. And, if you don't believe that, just study Candace Owens just a little bit. You don't have to dig too deep.
No. Nope, not
so
really.
We get the hostages, we being this side of the equation. The hostages, seeing what Israel is going to do there in the Strip. My next thing I'm looking for is to see Netanyahu's response. And, right now it's all on paper. Paper doesn't bring the end to anything.
Here's another story that just came up. Trump puts Hamas on notice with deadline to accept Gaza peace deal. Says Hamas will be hunted down and killed if all hostages are not released by Sunday evening.
Well, he gave them 72 hours about 72 hours ago. And one of the best things that I think comes out of this is they obviously believed Trump was serious. Hamas would wait 96 hours in a 72-hour ultimatum just because they're Hamas and because nobody's going to tell them what to do. So somebody got in Hamas's ear and said, look, he's serious. He is not playing around. This is not the time to act like Hamas. This is the time to act like you are a civilized group of people and that you are going to do the right thing. So what do we end with? Give me your final thoughts.
Well, I know this has happened before, and Hamas didn't do anything until. To me, it looks like Trump's he's done playing. He's sick and tired of playing. Right here it says Trump wrote every country signed on. If this is a last chance agreement, if it's not reached, all hell like no one has ever seen before will break out against Hamas. I think Hamas might be realizing that they lose, game over. At least I hope. We've been fooled by Hamas before. We've been told the hostages are going to be released before. I'm kind of in a holding pattern until Sunday to see if it actually happens or not, or what our response would be. Probably more than likely Monday morning. Fingers crossed this crap gets out of the way. We've got enough to worry about, and I'm sure all the purple-haired, free Palestine wearing alphabet soup members are upset about this, but Hamas was the aggressor here, so I guess stay tuned, keep your fingers crossed and we'll see what happens.
My good friend Susan says, remember when Powell turned on Bush after his administration? Colin Powell, she's talking about. I honestly think black conservatives get very weary of their community's backlash, not to mention their immediate family getting abused as well. This may be the case with Candace Owens. I could be wrong, but the pressure scene must be intense. And that's a legitimate point with Candace. Powell did seem to change at a certain point. And so we'll dig into the Candace Owens things. Probably won't hit it too hard on Tuesday, but coming up, we'll look, because I have a feeling there'll be plenty more. She doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon.
No, she just keeps getting louder and louder and louder.
All right. Say goodnight, Ronnie.
Well, good night, everybody. Thank you for being here for this very brief Red, White, and True breaking news. We appreciate it.
We'll be back Tuesday, if not sooner. And until we see you again, go out and do the right thing.
Thank you for joining us for today's live stream. This has been a presentation of Ed Boston Media.